My relationship with GPNP actually started about 10 years ago. So when Fred Brown and I were he was at the Homeland Children's Village and I was out in Homeland. I had a small community center. We were doing some really interesting stuff. We started to work with the Forbes funds when a woman by the name of Kate Dewey was there and a variety of others. Got me really excited. And then 5 years ago, we started doing humanity-centered design. So the idea of problem solving for more than just humans. So keeping humans at the center, but recognizing that technology was going to start to influence things in our lives, sometimes the way we wanted, oftentimes the way we unfortunately do not. And then, I've obviously been in and around and learning from most of you over the last about 2.5 years. So I'm part of the AI cohorts that have graduated about 140, 150 nonprofits at this point. Every time we go through it, I'm learning as much as everybody else is, trying to keep up with the speed of AI and learning how that impacts communities that I hope to understand more and more, but certainly have lots to grow into.
Yeah. Great. Well, you shared with me your excitement about the summit and what it can mean for people. And I think your vision is so compelling and so captivating. So I thought,
I feel like it's hard to follow like that. In fact, most of it I was just nodding, violently at, because for my place, I don't know if anyone else can relate to this. People are trying so hard to cheerlead me into this kind of gaslit phase of like everything's going to be okay. Right. You don't have to worry about it and it's all right. I said, well, maybe we do need to slow down and think about it, right? And I actually, as really appreciate the fact that, literally about a third of the people in my life have just sort of asked me if I'm moving to Canada. A third are sort of sitting here being like, well, this is not really like my problem per se. And a third are like, you can't beat me. Right? And I like to believe I met a lot of the third at the top in this room. For sure. But I think that, your point about Monday really stuck with me more than anything, because I oftentimes find myself wondering what's going to happen 6 or 12 months from now. And if you're a parent or a caregiver, you recognize that you sometimes see a lens that's like decades ahead, and you have this existential dread of the fact that no one around you, especially one shaping system, seems to be doing the right things. And maybe right is subjective, and I get that morality is too, but it feels like we've agreed on a couple of things in this country. Like we shouldn't support pedophiles. You know what I mean? Like there are rules. Shared beliefs, right? I thought we had maybe not, I don't know. It's hard to understand what's going on. But the point being is, I've decided that I can no longer plan for 6 or 12 months ahead. And I jokingly say that about technology and everything else in this world. But what I can plan is what I'm going to do on Monday. And, one of the things I was lucky enough to kind of intersect with many of you around speaking and sort of learning from you about the kind of expertise you're going to bring and listening. And, the only real push I had for all the speakers, I said, hey, can you think of one thing that I can do on Monday? Like little old me. Like, I don't know if it's with the internet or it's with maybe I can inspire my kids in some way, or maybe I could go out and role model somebody else, or maybe an experiment to run. But I said, I'm sick of thinking about next year. I'm definitely not waiting until one president changes for the other, no matter what side of the aisle you're on.
Right.
I want something tangible. And so what I hope is that we'll all think about creating something. And, that whole funny definition of insanity where we all loop around again, trying the same things. I think the reason that happens is because sometimes we think so far ahead that we forget about the now. Because it's a lot easier to think about 12 months from now, it's going to be better. I promise you. I hope it is. But what I don't know is, why do I get the excuse of not doing anything on Monday? And so I think I shared, if you don't know, if you ever see my phone or my hotspot around, the name of my phone is There Is No Neutral. And so when I get up on Monday, I'm going to say, okay, I've met Marie. She got me all fired up about this stuff. I found it actually really impactful, the point of view about history. I think that's as someone who's also a researcher and sort of a data nerd, I thought that was a moment in time. I was like, I'm going to use that everywhere. Lots of credit coming your way. But I think the point that I really would hope is that we make something on Monday. We don't say something on Monday. And I think it's really important to pick 3 things. Like, I don't know if you're a fellow entrepreneur, many of you are, whether you agree you are or not, right? We're all builders. When I get stuck, which unfortunately happens never, but also all the time, the part that I think about is I write down 3 things and I do 3 things. And so, when I was listening to some of the practices today, I was reflecting on some of the behaviors I have. And so, one of the things I started doing in my life is pray silently, but ask my kids, what are they grateful for every day? And I think that gratitude is a heck of a drug, right? I think if I can be grateful and realize that I am not in a war-torn zone, I have actually not inflicted on anyone, I think that's powerful. And so the big hope I have, and the big thing that you inspired me and everyone else inspired me to, is I should start making again. And I don't mean software, because I think we all have been I mean making friendships and relationships. I mean making time for meals. I meant making something that I can use or I can share, and hopefully you'll share with me. But this idea of making really feels like it was something of the past, and I hope it's something that we can all inspire in each other.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you. Thanks.